We've just arrived at the newly renovated Paddy's markets, right here on the edge of Chinatown. And it already feels familiar, yet at the same time, noticeably different. Let's head in through this entrance. For many Sydneysiders, Paddy's has always been more than just a market. It's a place tied to memories, weekend bargains, late-night snacks, school excursions, and that unmistakable buzz that comes from people, languages, and cultures all mixing together in one space. Paddy's Markets is one of the oldest continuously operating markets in Australia. Its history stretches back to the 19th century, when it began as a produce market serving a growing colonial city. Over time, as Sydney expanded and changed, so did Paddy's. It moved locations, adapted to new communities, and eventually settled here in Haymarket, right next to Chinatown, Central Station, and some of the busiest streets in the city. For decades, Paddy's was known for its no-frills atmosphere. It was loud, crowded, and sometimes chaotic, but that was also part of its charm. You didn't come here for polished storefronts, you came for energy. You came to browse, to bargain, and to discover things you didn't even know you were looking for. Fresh fruit stacked high, souvenir stalls, clothing racks, Asian snacks, and small family-run businesses all squeezed together under one roof. But cities evolve, and so do markets. In recent years, the City of Sydney and the operators behind Paddy's recognised that while the market's heritage was valuable, the space itself needed renewal. The renovation wasn't about erasing the past, it was about making Paddy's work for a new generation, while still respecting the community that made it what it is. Walking through the renovated market now, the first thing you notice is the light. The space feels brighter and more open than before. The layout is clearer, with wider walkways that make it easier to move through, even during busy periods. There's a sense of order that didn't exist before, but importantly, it hasn't lost its personality. You can still hear the familiar sounds, conversations overlapping in different languages, the hum of people negotiating prices or deciding what to eat next. That atmosphere, the soul of Paddy's, is still very much alive. Food has always been central to Paddy's identity, and that hasn't changed. If anything, it's become even more prominent. The smells alone tell a story: grilled meats, freshly cut fruit, baked goods, and familiar Asian flavors drifting through the air. This is the kind of place where you can grab a quick snack, enjoy a full meal, or pick up ingredients to cook something special at home. As we step out of the newly revitalized food precinct, we immediately feel the shift in atmosphere. Now, as we walk back into Paddy's traditional stall markets, it feels like moving from a polished stage back into the heart of the city's everyday pulse. The Haymarket Paddy's market space has always had this dual personality. On one side is the food hub, an ambitious attempt to bring the feel of world-class markets. And on the other, the timeless energy of a traditional bazaar that has served this community for nearly 2 centuries. Here, you're surrounded by rows of small stalls selling everything from affordable fashion and accessories to souvenirs, gadgets, jewelry, and homewares. These are the kinds of places where you might find a quirky gift for a friend, a colorful scarf perfect for winter travel, or a novelty t-shirt that feels like a small piece of Sydney to take home. Now, as we move further into Paddy's markets, the atmosphere shifts once again. The sounds soften slightly, replaced by the scrape of crates on concrete, the rustle of plastic bags, and the quiet, focused conversations between vendors and shoppers. We've arrived at the vegetable and fruit section, the part of Paddy's that feels closest to its original purpose. This area reminds us that before Paddy's became a tourist destination or food hotspot, it was first and foremost a produce market. For generations, this is where Sydney came to buy fruit and vegetables, fresh, affordable, and often in bulk. The first thing you notice is the color. Rows of produce stretch out in every direction. Deep green leafy vegetables, bright oranges and reds, pale yellows, and earthy browns. Everything is stacked high, sometimes overflowing, creating that unmistakable sense of market abundance. Paddy's has long been known as a place where you can find real value. Buying in larger quantities is common, especially for families, restaurant workers, and small business owners who know exactly what they need. You'll see people comparing stalls, doing quick mental calculations, and choosing produce not just for how it looks, but for how they plan to use it. From the fruit and vegetable section, we now turn back toward the retail side of Paddy's markets. In just one visit, we move from food hall to traditional stalls, from fresh produce to souvenirs and everyday goods. That variety is part of what makes this market feel so uniquely Sydney, layered, multicultural, and constantly in motion. We are now looking for the lift that will take us upstairs to Market City Shopping Centre, which sits directly above Paddy's markets. Alright, here it is. We've found it. The upper levels of this building make up the Market City Shopping Centre. This feels like a good place to pause and take a short break. In our next video, we'll share our experience exploring Market City Shopping Centre. If you've enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share.